Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. This is episode 465, and I'm your host, Sean Garmer. With me, as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And we've been talking about is Xbox going to get out of the console business, Game Pass increases, all that stuff. We haven't gotten to talk about Sony that much. Well, this week, now it's like we're going way too much forward in the future. Is it too early to talk about next gen coming in 2027, according to many rumors and also a video of Marc Cerny that was posted this week as well? We'll talk about that stuff. We'll talk about a possible or a Assassin's Creed game that was set in Civil War times that was canceled. Marc has been playing more Hades 2. I've been playing Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, and Little Nightmares 3. We'll talk about all of that stuff. We'll look into some data that shows how many people are actually buying games and how many are being bought by the majority of people, and how much more can we take from that as to what's the reality of the situation when it comes to gaming, and why we might be in the situation where we're at with AAA games. So we'll get into all that stuff. Nintendo Switch 2 keeps doing well, and more right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way here. We do appreciate everybody that watches, listens, whether you watch on demand or you watch live, which you can do around 9:30ish on Monday nights, Eastern time. You can do your time zone equivalent there. You can always just listen on demand, watch on demand later, whether it's on podcasts, all your favorite podcast places, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, all that other stuff. Wherever you do listen to a podcast, we are there. Search Video Games to the Max. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, W2 Network, when you watch us on video. And not only do you get what we do here with the video games, if you like other things like anime, you get the Otaku Cafe folks. So they just did their Summer Anime Awards and their top 10 summer anime of 2025 summer anime, and they delve right into the fall season. I've been watching the first couple episodes of that Digimon Beatbox or Beat Breakers, show. That's
It must be a lot better.
It is very beat oriented. Lots of music type stuff in there. Good first two episodes so far. So I would give that short review. So yeah, if you love anime, check them out at Taco Cafe Podcast. It's there on the YouTube channel as well. All the places also have like their own little podcasts, like thing you can subscribe to individually also on the channel. If you go and just look through the playlist, you can go that way and also Router Broadcasting. Right now, they're actually reviewing the Tron Ares movie over there. So be sure to check that out. They will be, I'm sure, breaking that all down, what they thought, and looking into it all kinds of ways, as they normally do. They do a great job with that stuff over there. So check them out. But let's go ahead and get into the video games, Mark. Any other thought? How many more times have you beaten Hades 2 since?
Probably at least 10, 15. Yeah, I mean, it's still like it. The only problem with the game kind of is, and it's a problem with the first game and a problem of like certain roguelikes, is like if you're trying to get a specific item or a specific character or whatever, and it doesn't happen, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
Like if it's like, oh, I'm trying to get this one, trying to get the chaos relationship to go forward, but it's like, okay, I've done 5 runs and she hasn't shown up, and she showed up like once, and it was not great, and I was like, all right, like I wish the game kind of had like a chit system where it was like, okay, you can guide this run along a little. Like, let's say you had like 3 I mean, you can kind of do that with some boons, with some of the artifacts you get, but like it's not entirely great, and it doesn't work with actually chaos and some of the other, Pantheon people.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah, the only other two things I finally got a screwdriver for my Super Famicom box, so I was able to take it apart some and look at it. And
Okay,
that's
that's
cool.
what that picture was that I saw.
Yeah. It looks like a weird old desktop PC or something, but it's just a Super Nintendo. And I tried since it makes you interested in this game for once, I tried the Star Trek Voyager, I think it's called Across the Unknown demo.
Yeah.
It's part of the Steam Next Fest thing that is starting today.
Yes.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't think you would like it per se, because you got to be reading Star Trek, and
Right. Yeah.
it's like a weird mismatch of like FTL, Fallout Shelter, and then like the Mass Effect 2, like ship stuff, like guiding the Normandy
What's it
around, like
called? Star Trek
Voyager,
Voyager.
Across the Unknown, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's basically like the demo is like retelling the first episode of the show, so you can kind of make some changes, but they're not like that impactful per se. But yeah, you can like you're trying to find resources. You can like send guys out to missions, and that's like a total like weird like visual novel mixed with like a dice roll, like or like like it's like Disco Elysium or something. Like you will have percentages on like if I want to scan this thing, I need 25%, but my guy only has 17%, so it might go bad or something like that. That's all fine, and I reasonably liked my time with it. It has some like weird technical issues or like grammar stuff or nitpicky asshole stuff that only like me and like other Trek people would actually give a shit about. The problem with it, the biggest problem, is it has like almost like no music, and it has absolutely zero voice acting.
Well, I mean, it is like a demo of a game that's probably not coming out for a bit. So
I think it's coming out this year, or
it is.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the demo seems pretty fully featured. It's not just some like, oh, here's one.
It's not early access.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Does it actually have like characters from?
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
It is completely like, it's almost like a what if game. So it's like, oh, what if you did this instead? I guess it doesn't have a release date, at least not yet. But it is directly retelling events from the show, and it's like, oh, you can let this character live, or you can do something else that's different. That's fine. It needs. I mean, here's the thing. I imagine the script is going to be pretty long, and that's fine. Most of those people are still alive. I can get not wanting to pay them maybe, but at least get one or two of them in there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder like how much are they gonna ask for?
I mean, that's why you don't have to get necessarily everyone. You could just get like Kate Mulgrew, but she's kind of like probably the most expensive one because she was kind of one of the few that like still kept acting. Like half those people have stopped acting pretty much. So, and they just do conventions or just kind of hang around. But it's like, okay, get them. Like if they don't cost that much, like
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. I mean, I don't know when it'll come out necessarily, but I may buy it when it comes out, depending on other reviews, or hopefully we can get it for review ourselves. And
Do they have like a price on it?
No,
not yet.
I imagine 30. That'd be my guess.
Seems about fair.
Yeah.
I mean, Daedalic is a very like narrative heavy studio. I remember.
Yeah.
Playing a few games from them.
Yeah. Well, they're publishing it. It's a company called Game Excite is developing it. because Daedalic was the one who stopped making games after the Gollum game.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
let's not remind people of that. The
Yeah, and
worst game of last year.
I'm looking at this game Excite thing, and like they made us make a bunch of like weird mobile games. So this is like their big attempt at making like a real game.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, you know. So
I need no.
maybe this will be the time for it to take off for them, that they
Right.
can get it to be the thing that starts there going into traditional video games,
Right.
kind of thing, and not just be a mobile studio. But
instead of Asterisk and Obelisk or Asterisk and Friends.
hey, those are some big, you know.
The spin-off to Garfield and Friends.
That's a big franchise in like, you know, Scandinavia and whatnot. So I've seen some of the comic strips at times, but it's not like one of those like, yeah, I'm just searching out.
Right. But yeah, it was a cool game, and you know, I may replay it one or two more times just to screw around a little more.
Yeah, for sure.
But how's the tactics treating you?
Let me just go ahead and get into Little Nightmares really quick.
Sure.
Just because, not to like, well, I shouldn't say that, because when you say that, it's exactly what you're doing, but I guess not to shortchange it or whatnot, but it's more Little Nightmares.
Yeah.
I think if you liked the first two, you're gonna like Little Nightmares 3. There's not much special to it, to be honest. In fact, it kind of feels like it's a little bit soulless, but then again, Little Nightmares itself was always kind of more about the vibe and the atmosphere and all of the like. They did a lot of the Tim Burton stuff before it now became in vogue to kind of make that a thing in some indie games.
Right.
So that stuff is still there, right? If you like the ambiance and all that stuff of Little Nightmares, and the, you know, the same side scrolling, solve a simple puzzle here, walk through and all that stuff. Try to figure this out. Do I punch this? Do I jump on this kind of thing? That's all still there, right? The issue that I had was that I was kind of looking at it like, you know, for one, I wasn't thinking I was going to review this game. Adam kind of just, I didn't get Digimon, and he didn't either, because really he was the one that's supposed to review it. He was trying to get a Switch version, and he had asked for the other consoles for me, and neither one came in, and they were like, oh, but hey, we'll give you Little Nightmares 3, which is obviously Bandai Namco published both games. And he's like, well, do you want that? I was like, well, okay. But the problem is there's no couch co-op for this one. It's all online. And that kind of sucks, because I was actually kind of like, Anaya loves horror stuff like I do. She kind of likes the art style. I showed it to her, and then you can't play with somebody next to you, which kind of defeats the purpose of something like that. To be able to communicate with I don't want to sit with a headset and talk to somebody while playing this game. I want to kind of like soak in the vibes. And look, I get it. If this is a shortcut that they had to do, it might have been easier for them to do the online version of this, because the other ones was really more about solo play, right? And then you have the AI partner that kind of does stuff.
I'm sorry. You're playing this on the Switch too?
No, I'm playing this on PS5.
Okay. Well, as an easy solution, buy another PS5 and have an eye play it with you in the same room.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to do that. They do have the friend pass thing though, so if I would have been able to get it for like Switch 2 or something, maybe it. I don't know if it works. I had to go look into that. I didn't really look into it because I got a PS5 version, so I don't really necessarily care about. I'll have to look into it when I actually do the review because that kind of does matter. But
Right.
if it's like you can use it via game share, right? Where we've seen a lot of games where you can play, even Donkey Kong was like that. You could play with somebody playing as Pauline with game share on the Switch 1, and you're playing the game on Switch 2. So I don't know if that's there for Little Nightmares 3 or not, but like I said, it's a game you can finish in 3 hours if you want to just speed roll through it and just experience the thing. So,
And you got
but yeah,
you said you got the code from Adam, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I saw his email a few nights ago saying like, "Oh, I got a Battlefield 6 code for Xbox. Who wants it?" And my message to him was email them back and say PS5 code, you dummies.
Oh, you did want to try it out. I'm sure Stuart probably took that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want any part of that. I was like, nope.
Right. Yeah.
I heard the campaign sucks. I don't want to be forced to sit there and deal with multiplayer because that's supposed to be light years amazing or whatever.
Right.
But and hey, the concurrents for Battlefield 6 are supposed to be like they beat the Call of Duty ones. So
yeah,
props to them for getting to accomplish that feat. I don't know if that's going to hold once Call of Duty actually comes out and not the beta or whatever, but like to beat their all-time concurrence on Steam, that's pretty great.
Sure.
So yeah, but I'm pretty sure Little Nightmares, I'm going to try to have the review this week. Just so I can, kind of get that out there. I've seen the kind of consensus seems to be like in the 7s. That seems about right.
Right.
Supermassive doesn't do anything wrong here. They definitely know how to do their narrative game, but it feels like it's going to be really interesting because there is a demo out for the actual Little Nightmares 1 and 2 devs, the Tarsier Studios, Reanimal. It's there on the Steam Neck Fest, which I'm actually considering downloading and playing because I want to see if you get that vibe more with Reanimal that I felt with the first 2 games, especially 1. So, and it's also interesting that the number 1 enhanced edition also comes out the same day, which is like, all right, that's cool. But yeah, that's Little Nightmares 3. The game that I spent a lot more time with, one of the games I've been much more excited about. If you know me at all with my history of Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. Hey, one of the greatest games ever made, and it's there for you, available on whatever console you want to play it. I have this on the Switch 2. That's also a code that Adam was able to get for me, which is awesome because I played the original like in college.
99.
I want to say, but like later. I didn't play it when it originally came out. I played it later in college, like a couple of years later. And I that's kind of the thing that kind of introduced me, as a lot of people introduced me to tactics games, right? As far as like strategy RPGs, I played a bunch of Command and Conquer when I was younger,
right,
on PC, because that's something that, like, I don't know, I saw it in the store and I thought it looked cool or whatever, and I bought it and I played it because it was that thing as when you're a kid, you don't really get to choose, you one game gets bought and you're playing that because it's not like you're going to be able to go out and buy.
Yeah, it's like you better like this game because
It's not like you're going to be able to go out and buy whatever you want afterwards. You kind of just deal with that. but I've been sitting there like looking up things of like how best to have your party and all that kind of stuff, kind of learning things. And man, I've really just been enjoying it, just going through the battles and getting the different jobs. I love the job system in this game, which obviously is probably the best version of the job system. Better than yeah.
I assume it's like the real world where the Uber driver is the best job ever.
No, but close enough. Yeah, it's just cool to go. Like, it actually shows you one of the things that they were able to upgrade in this game, aside from the kind of upgraded graphics or whatever, and improving the story, is there's voice acting now, which adds a lot to the
Right.
cutscenes. You can obviously tell when Ben Starr comes in the picture because his voice. It's along with some of the other ones that you probably recognize by now. But yeah, and they did a whole like almost an hour thing of behind the voice. If you want to go look that up, it's pretty cool. But honestly, like, look, this game's great. I don't think I need to tell you if you're looking forward to this and you haven't bought it yet for some reason. I don't think you need me to sell you on it. It's pretty awesome. All the stuff that gets added to it is what it is. It still looks like the original game, and then having to hear that they like remade it from the ground up essentially, so you could have the classic version and then also have this is pretty great.
Right.
And like I've just been enjoying like figuring out how to best like who to have in the party and what jobs to have and what moves are good and be able to figure and like how to do the like best combos with certain ones. And like I love using Ramzo, who's the main character, as the monk, and then have the knight come in and like take off their like kill their attack power, and then have the monk, my monk character come in and just absolutely kick their ass in like 2 turns or whatever, and then have the black mage come in and just freaking Friaga the thing down. Yeah, a lot of the stuff from the original is there. Essentially, they like sped up some of the wait times on some of the magic and whatnot. But there's still a wait period. So like you still have to. It's not like it's all happening instantly now and whatever. Like there is still a lot of that strategy there for that. So if this is your first time playing, I don't think you're going to go wrong here with this. Obviously, there's that content that's missing that everybody that's a longtime fan is harping about, obviously. And I definitely understand that, I think, from the perspective of the people that really want that Onion Knight and other things that are missing from the War of the Lions.
I mean, that wasn't in the original game, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. And I understand what they mean by, like, we didn't want to put it in because we wanted this to be as close to the original as possible. Right. And the people that are upset about it, I wouldn't be surprised if they will eventually introduce it.
Yeah, it'll just be like the Persona 3 remastered, like the DLC option, right? Like they'll make it and sell it to you. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just introduced it as DLC. Square Enix has definitely gotten into the DLC game as of late. So, like, just be ready for that, I guess. That hopefully it comes that way. I'd hate to see it like not come at all, because I know there's a lot of people that are, if that's what's stopping you from playing the game, I think that's kind of shitty. Right. I understand that maybe you have played the game a million times and you wanted to play it that way and whatever, but I mean, like, go play it again in this version. Even though, again, I don't think the graphics are anything to like write home about. They definitely look a lot better than they did when you first saw them. Which
Right.
when I first saw them, I was kind of like, oh man, this looks like somebody just took an emulator filter and just put it on top of it. And it doesn't look that good, you know. But actually when you play the game, you don't notice it that much. To me, like it looks fine. And honestly, like it makes me keep playing the game, that there's voice acting, that there's stuff, and then it's like I haven't really played a game. Like normally I don't like grinding in games, but this game is actually like, because the battles are well done and the character, you know, being able to figure out all the strategy with those characters and stuff like that. I've kind of like been grinding just to be able to make sure I can have, you know, a good enough level and good enough the right jobs to like the right like abilities on those characters and stuff. So I've played a lot of like the first couple of battles, the random battles a bunch of times. Keep seeing the same like 5 different things, but you know, that's part of it too, right? And then you can also flee those battles now, so it's not like they're random, but you can just avoid them, that's good too. Because in the original, I remember I didn't like grinding because it's like you're stuck in playing this battle over and over if you happen to have to go back to the town to refill your items and stuff like that or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna keep playing this. Hopefully, within the next week, I'll get further along and you know, get closer to beating it and then write the review.
Well, once you unlock
yeah.
Cloud, and then you know the game's over.
Yeah, they apparently made Cloud even better in this game, so that's a plus too if you are.
I mean, actually useful.
Yeah, they made it exactly. They made him useful in this game, so that's the point. Like they made a big, you know, it used to be this whole big secret of unlocking him in the old one, but then he kind of sucked.
You get him like so late that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't.
Great, I got level 1 Cloud. Cool.
I'm definitely not grinding all this to get him. You know, it's
right?
Like, yeah, just whatever. We'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, that's kind of it for me as far as playing games. I'll see if I get some time to delve into some of the Next Fest stuff throughout the week.
Right.
But yeah. But all right, that's it for us playing games here. Let's get into I guess let's not beat around the bush any longer. Get to our main topic here. So there was a video posted by PlayStation with Marc Cerny and Jack Hyun called Project Amethyst, and like the future of play or whatever. Look, it's typical Marc Cerny talking technical jargon. So if you like that stuff, that 8-minute video is definitely for you. Go check it out. But I mean, like a lot of that stuff, I just don't. It's like, unless you show me the practical use of it, you're just talking a bunch of.
It's all like theoretical.
Like, yeah, it's like the whole point. Eventually, we get to the end of it, and he's like, "This will eventually all be in a PlayStation in a few years." So, essentially, alluding to the PlayStation 6 that we know is. Obviously, Sony themselves have said they are working on a PlayStation 6, but they've never it's always been this nebulous, oh, is it 2027? Is it 2028? And, you know, now we have some posts from Moore's Law is Dead and Kepler L2 saying these are, you know, leakers on NeoGAF, Reset Era, whatever. Moore's Law is Dead has leaked a lot of other hardware things. He's the one that was the one talking about is PlayStation 6 going to come out with essentially the Switch but a PlayStation. And now we kind of have him talking about also Xbox and the AMD Magnus APU, which is what's going to be the next, whatever it is, Xbox console, PC hybrid, whatnot. It would be essentially stronger than the PS6, which that doesn't really mean anything. Technically, supposedly the Series X is supposed to be more powerful than the PlayStation 5, and it really doesn't seem like it most of the time.
Right.
Especially because of the way that they did the whole FSR and now they're PSSR and all that stuff. And also Xbox is definitely going more towards the PC side of things than the actual console. He talks about that. He talks about that essentially what they're trying to do is kind of check the pre-built PC and being like, oh, we're going to be the pre-built PC that you can also put under your television and sort of be a console. But that also means that the base price is probably going to be around $1,000, if not more, because you're looking at a more of a PC than a console. So they're not going to be subsidizing that. Whereas the PlayStation 6 will be more of the traditional console, you would imagine. And yeah, like Marc Cerny kind of mentions like neutral arrays and how that's going to work with PSSR and how that's all going to work inside of it with AI. And, you know, look, again, until he actually does that video where he shows you what this all kind of does, and then they actually show you how a video game does it, because even when he does those technical presentations and he's just kind of like, they show you the thing on the screen, but there's no game there to kind of give you the visual of what that might look like. I don't think a lot of people get that. But I guess my whole point in this is that also might mean that we might get more concrete evidence starting next year with a release around possibly this time 2 years from now at the earliest, if not maybe later. Depends on, you know, maybe by then we will know. Would they try to hold it off till 2028 to try to avoid the current climate situation, depending on what that's like? But look, we're talking about, you know, 2 years from now, who knows what that's going to be like. My whole point of this and the title of the episode is it too early to be really talking about next gen, considering that it feels like this console generation hasn't even really hit its stride at all.
I'm getting kind of sick of that sentiment. Like, at what point? I mean, it's not you specifically saying that, but I've seen a lot of people mentioning that, and it's like, at what point do you consider it hitting its stride?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, how many more games does Sony need to put out?
I mean, to be real, 7 years is essentially the console cycle. It's been like that for almost the entire history of consoles. 6 to 7, 8 is Switch only because they had to delay whatever that, you know, the reasoning for it, for that to make it an 8-year cycle. But yes, 7 years is essentially that time, right? But I think the basis of what they're trying to say is not necessarily that we haven't had quality games. It's more of like, have we really gotten to see what the PS5 and the PS5 Pro can do, right? And maybe we'll finally get that with GTA 6, as far as like the apex of what this generation will be. I think we're getting to that point where we really are seeing like the diminishing returns, where they have so many people still on PS4,
right?
They won't get off it, right? Because they don't have a reason to, as we'll get into later. With the Circana report thing about, you know, video game buying and whatnot. It's just interesting because it's like it just feels like, man, a lot of people probably maybe just got their PS5 or they've only had their PS5 for a couple of years and they're like, yeah, we're already talking about PlayStation 6. We're already talking about whatever the next Xbox thing is. It's
Well, yeah,
like,
you should have bought it 4 years ago then, or
right, but whenever we had the shortage with COVID and all that stuff, so like there was a little bit of that. It felt like that got kind of taken away from you in a way. But I mean, like, if we get to that point, right, and the PlayStation 6 is maybe not that much better than the PlayStation 5, are you really clamoring for the PlayStation 6 at that point? Like,
I'm not, and I don't
yeah,
think you are,
I'm
but
not. Yeah,
it's a matter of I think developers or certain developers are like incredibly lazy about trying to squeeze power out of a system as opposed to, well, we have like more headroom, so let's make it look better. But it's like it's not improving the actual gameplay much. It's just making it look. We have double the ray tracing now. It's like, okay, but it still plays like a piece of crap. So what is it? Or it's still like wholly like not creative or just completely derivative. And it's like, well, good job.
yeah. No, I agree with you there. I
Yeah,
do think that. I mean, we've seen that with PS5 Pro, right? A lot of
right,
people said that most likely they would not see the full potential of the PS5 Pro because most developers were not going to use it because of the small install base.
right.
There's not enough
Like
people that have it to justify them doing that.
the problem is like the limiting factor for new games isn't graphical or computing power. It's creative. It's inventiveness and creativeness,
Right.
and that's gonna be worse with AI because AI is not creative, or it's just we have game A and game B, and all AI is going to do is just make them together. So we have game A B. I was like, oh, well, that's a new game. It's like, no, you're just taking two older games and mixing them together poorly, but it's
Yeah.
not new. I mean, realistically, I think like you can make arguments that like, oh, the NES to the SNES is a technological leap, or even the PS2 and original Xbox, like Xbox 360 and PS3, that was a pretty big leap.
Yeah. PS1 to
But
PS2,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
but like PS3 to PS4, not really. I mean, it looks better, but it's not like games dramatically got better.
Right. And you're still seeing games come out that kind of look sort of like they were built in that era.
Right.
Right.
And even like, PS4 to PS5, it's like, well, games certainly look better, but it's like, well, it's still a lot of these games are still coming out on the same goddamn console, or
Yeah.
like the old one and the new one.
The thing
And
that to me that stood out most is the speed, right?
yeah,
That you get really that true SSD. Oh, the load times are so fast and all
yeah,
that
but
stuff,
all of two games use it. It's like
Yeah.
Astrobot and Spider-Man, and that's about it.
Right. I mean, you're talking about the Sony stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of games that if I played a game that's on the Switch 2 or even the Switch, and then you try to play it on your PS5, and the load time difference between Switch and PS5 is like, or even PS4 and PS5, you could tell the difference between how
Yeah,
quickly it
but
loads.
how does that materially impact the game? It's like, okay, well, I don't got to sit here for 30 seconds for it to load. I just got to sit here for 5 for it to load.
It
But it's
does.
like, oh,
To me, it matters in games where you die a lot, right?
yeah,
Like Astrobot, it made it so much easier for you to be like, okay, one more run because it's almost instant. It comes back,
right. I
right?
mean, that's like the feeling you get from like Super Meat Boy.
Right.
But
Like I said, the thing that bothered me the most about Mafia is like those times that I did die, it was
right,
like, oh my god, why is this taking so long to figure out where the heck I am and then load up the instance so I can play again? And it's
right,
like, you're playing another game that doesn't take that long, and it's like, what's going on here? But that's also the gulf in the quality of 70 and 50, but whatever. That's another thing
right.
entirely. But you know, the thing that's also big about this generation is there's a lot of games that are not using the graphical power of these systems at all.
Right.
And they're the best games on the damn system, right? The Vampire Survivors and the Hollow Knights and the Hades and all that stuff. That's like, yeah. I mean, you don't need a PS5 for that, right?
Right.
So it says a lot, right? Well, we still got the amazing Sony games, right? Even with Yote out,
Sure.
Just recently, and Spider-Man, and look, Wolverine's gonna look amazing, and Hellblade 2 looked amazing as well. So we have seen, graphical high-powered games on these consoles.
Right.
But I think it is just more of that, like, again, that whole, we are at the point where this is very much like when you upgrade your PC. And okay, you're going to start seeing some stuff and the ray tracing and all of that, whatever.
Yeah.
But even then, they had to have the Pro to be able to do a lot of that stuff better. Right. So essentially, are we now finally going to get what the PS5 was supposed to be the promise of, which is, oh, we're not going to have the performance mode and the quality mode. We're going to have that, just that's the mode, and that's going to be why you want to get the PS6 or whatever. I just feel like, especially with Sony, the wraparound, what Sony's thing has been is that they're trying to cut down on the price, right? They're not trying to do what Microsoft is doing and have it be this balloon $1,000 thing, right? So like you have to wonder, how much more of an upgrade will that be? Will you really need to go to the PS6? How long will it take before we get actual PS6 only games? How long do you think we're actually going to get PS6 only games at launch? Or I don't know, man. It just,
I think it'll really depend. It'll depend on if the PS6 is somehow backward compatible with PS4. To me,
it is supposedly, that's the whole reason why they went with AMD, was because they want to make sure you can play PS4, PS5, and PS6, especially if you're going to have that docked PS6 lower SKU, where that's going to be the hook on that, is that it's going to play PS4 and PS5 games, and then you're going to be able to stream PS6 games or play lower quality PS6 games or whatever,
I mean, at that point, it'll just be embarrassing when they have like 3 SKUs of FIFA or whatever EA calls their football game. Like, here's the PS4 Legacy Edition, here's the crappy PS5 edition, and then here's the expensive PS6 one.
Yeah. I do think
I think there will be at least one. I think in your scenario there will be at least 1 or 2 like PS6 exclusive games. I don't think they'll be big necessarily. I don't think it'd be like, here's Astrobot 2 and it's PS6 exclusive.
Yeah, definitely.
At least not at launch.
Yeah.
But I guess it depends on how big of a theoretical jump a graphic, PS5 to PS6 would be. But yeah, it's to me, like, how much better can games look? Like, I still can't even tell the difference with ray tracing. That's why, like, I was getting infuriated with watching like Digital Foundry crap because they're so nitpicky about shit, and it's like
that's there for the hardest of the hardcore that care about all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Like, I like watching Digital Foundry for like the frame rate stuff. Like, that's actually like materially impact. But like when they talk about MXAA and they start throwing around all these like weird acronyms, and it's like, what are you guys even talking about? Like, you could just be making this up. And
it wasn't really until I got this LG that I have now that I've been able to really tell the 60 and 30, right? And then it's like, I know there's a couple games that were at like 120, and I'm just like, I don't really know what the big difference is here, but I'm good with 60. That's great. That, if we can finally get to 4K 60, I think that's awesome. I think with as much as people, 4K TVs are so cheap now, and they just keep getting cheaper.
That's actually a problem for me. is I don't have a 4K TV. I just have like a 1080p one.
Yeah.
I don't have room for a 4K TV.
Okay, so
Like
what size is your TV right now?
27 inches, maybe.
Okay.
But I sit
Yeah.
a foot away from it or 2 feet away. So what do I care? Like if I want to get
I
like a
think
4K
the
TV,
smallest I've seen is like 40 for 4K.
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And like my room isn't built for a 4K for like a 40-inch TV. Like I could maybe put one up, but like I'd have no room for a lot of other shit that I currently have up. So it's like, what is like if I wanted to get like a 34-inch 4K TV, I couldn't get it. I have to get a 34-inch 4K monitor. Like
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, that's not great, or that's not.
But I do think that you're gonna start seeing a little bit of the diminishing returns for that too. Of okay, now if you don't have the 4K, you're not really gonna experience what the PlayStation 6 and the whatever the Xbox is.
Right.
I think for me, the other question is again, like, look, this is all speculative, right? Because like a lot of this stuff, even though Moore's Law is dead, seems to like kind of be on it a little bit with what he's saying. Until Sony comes out with, okay, this is what we're doing, we really, really don't know. Right. And the year seems right. Like again, like the consoles came out in 2020. If they're releasing in November 2027 or October or whatever, that's right on. That's exactly 7 years. And Sony will be its own thing at that point, right? Because they are going to be the console. And Microsoft will just be sitting there. Okay, here's your PC that plays games. You can hook it up the controller, and
here's your ROG Ally XXX.
Yeah, it's like now they did. I think we talked about it last week. They did come out with a statement that says that Xbox, the whatever it is that they're building, the hybrid, is being developed, made, and everything by Xbox. It is not being made by ROG or some other third-party OEM or whatever. But you gotta for sure think that that's the last one, right?
Yeah.
I do wonder if like the whole thing with the Xbox Ally, which that comes out this week, the Xbox Ally X and the Xbox Ally, it's going to be really interesting because I think that kind of will give you a window into how many people might actually care about this Xbox console, hybrid thing, because like when you tell somebody, even though yes, this will be a full-on PC that you can use, right? Which might be tantalizing for me because if I don't have my laptop, my new laptop by then, if that is essentially,
it shouldn't be tantalizing to you. At least not like you're talking about like the cheap model or the expensive one.
Well, I don't know. They're making it seem like it's going to be one SKU. They're not going to have multiple SKUs of this thing. At least not right. I'm talking about the Xbox.
Okay, yeah.
If this Xbox is actually a PC, but you're mainly going to be using that interface that you're using with the Xbox Ally or whatever when you play games,
but you're
you can take it out of the.
You're going to still need to install like Office on it, or
I don't use Office. I use Google Docs, so I don't even use Office anymore. Not since I had my that original computer that I had that was the standalone thing. That's the last time I had Office.
Not game shit on it. And
yeah, but I would think that they would make that much more, if it's just booting out to the desktop and then I can just hook up a mouse to it and then use it. It's not that big a deal to me because the TV that I have, a lot of people use it as a monitor for their PC. I've seen a lot of people do that. So it really would be, something. But I'm a very small use case. I think most people are going to be looking at it as this is the next Xbox. It's like, why do I want to pay $1,500 for this thing? Like, that's a lot to be able to. This is the only thing that's going to be available that's going to play your Xbox console games for the next 5 years or whatever.
Right.
And then also we don't know if Steam's going to eventually come out with their new Steam box or whatever or not. I do think, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought it was funny that I saw a report on that, the cheap ROG Ally, the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And how it's using a 5-year-old chip.
Yeah, because that's how they can make it cheaper, right? Because
$600 ain't cheap though. Like,
I mean, but what's the original Ally cost right now if you bought it new? Like 500?
I'm just saying, like, compare that to the Steam Deck, which, you know.
Yeah, no, yeah, but the Steam Deck is the low end, right? Whenever the Steam Deck 2 comes out, I'll be very surprised if that thing's less than $600.
I won't be. I'm going to be $500.
If it has an OLED screen, it's not.
Well, that'll come later. I mean, that'll come for like the people who care about that thing, care about that specific part. But
I wonder if they will have an OLED at the beginning this time, now that they've had the time to actually build it or whatever, knowing that's
Nintendo doesn't.
Well, Nintendo's Nintendo, right? Like they want to upsell you later. That's right. They figured that out with the like, oh man, yeah, let's wait 2 more years and we can get them with a Switch 2 OLED. You know, they're not stupid. They know how that works, you know.
Right.
I do think, you know, listen, we talked about the Game Pass thing. I wrote my article. It's up there on Outer Haven. I'll put a link in the description. I think for sure, look, it would be absolutely stupid. Xbox might as well kiss Game Pass goodbye if they get rid of the console. Game Pass will not be able to sustain itself without the console, people. You try to sell people on Game Pass buying a Fire Stick or the cloud. Maybe you'll get those people in with the free ad tier or a $5 version of Game Pass or whatever, but you sure as heck aren't going to get the publishers and the devs unless you somehow get an explosion of people playing it that way, which you might if that's your entryway into gaming, into like, you know, more of the hardcore-ish gaming is with that. But it's like Xbox needs those console players. That's what they're doing right now with that $30 a month is they're trying to gussy up all of the console players and be like, look, this is still a good deal, man. You're still getting $40 less than what you would pay if you bought the thing at retail, even though like Keeper that comes out in this week is $30, and that's 1 month of Game Pass, right? So you can choose whether you want to buy Keeper outright or but you also get Ninja Gaiden 4 and you also get Outer Worlds 2 in that same time frame, even though you won't have time to play them all. So that's part of the problem too, is, you know, do you have time to play all that stuff? I think I think for sure they have to be making a console. It just doesn't make sense. Now, obviously, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 could absolutely somehow not be the #1 game of the year. That's the thing that we didn't talk about the last week when we talked about this, is like Call of Duty Black Ops 6, for all the whatever crap they were saying about how they lost $300 million in sales and all this whatever, it was still the #1 selling game last year.
Right.
Granted, 82% of that is on PlayStation 5. But, you know, I think
it's just 82. No biggie.
But I'm just saying, like, whatever they're saying is it's still the #1 selling game last year. So,
right.
Granted, this year they have more competition. We'll see with Battlefield 6 out there if anything takes a chunk out of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 when that comes out, especially with like the very low. It seems like nobody's talking about that beta, and if they are, it seems like not very positive. Right. So compared to all the stuff we were talking about with Battlefield 6. So, you know, Cube says I don't buy it. I think they're done with consoles. I just don't see it. I don't see how they can sustain that. You talk about losing Game Pass numbers. I think Game Pass goes completely to the floor if you drop the console. I think
Well, there's two things. A, even if they want to make a console, I mean, who knows if stores will put on the shelves at this point. I mean,
well, there was a lot
And
of dispute on that too with Target and
but then
Walmart. Yeah.
but then B, like, let's say, I mean, their whole thing is they don't want to make a console. Like,
Right.
really? Like, if they could somehow get Game Pass just on TVs, I mean, they already kind of are, or some
Well, it's
TVs.
on. It's fine. It's on my TV. I can play
Right.
it on my TV right now, but it doesn't work as well as my console.
Yeah, but they don't care about that. I mean, that's the other problem is, TVs, like smart TVs, barely work as it is. So them trying to bolt this thing to play games onto it, it's a good luck with that. Like,
I just, the thing that to me doesn't necessarily work with it is that number one, we still don't have technology. Maybe, and I don't think even in 2 years' time, we have the technology to be able to sustain the majority of that player base on connected. It might be going there eventually. It might be that eventually after this console cycle, PS7 is an app and Xbox is an app, and Nintendo
we'll be going
will be
there, but
making
it'll
consoles.
take like 20 more years, or and actually like the government investing in infrastructure.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it would definitely take that as well. But I do see that entry level for like people that like Game Pass like doubled for you, or the consoles are just stupidly expensive, and cloud is that nice like entry level for you, or PC is that entry level for you, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just one of those where like you look at it right now in 2025, and all the great games that we had come out this year, and you presume next year you also have a plethora of great games, and it's kind of like, what are those consoles going to be able to provide that we don't already get? And it's like, if you couldn't pull people off PS4, man, it's going to be interesting to see how many people you can't pull off PS5.
Right.
Especially if the economic climate doesn't get any better.
That's the folly of what Sony and Microsoft kind of did, is when those new systems came out, they really should have been a very strong dividing line of, here's the new shit, get on it. And they didn't do that.
I wonder if COVID hadn't happened, if they could.
I mean, that could have been a factor.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, like, games now, at least for like the PlayStation, like they're only coming out on, PS5. Like, you go see,
I mean,
but
we're 5 years into the generation.
No, I know, but that's the problem is, when they make Ghost of Shuhei or whatever that is, Ghost game is, that'll probably be a PS6 game. And I don't think they should make a PS5 version. I mean, I guess it depends. If it came out next year, then yeah, make a PS5 version. But you have to assume that'll take probably 5 years to make, or 3 or 4 at least. And by that time, the PS6 will be probably out, if not out, at least announced and out soon.
Yeah.
But I think when those new consoles come out, except for like the returning games like FIFA or Just Dance, or like the small indie crap that no one cares about, but I mean like the big tentpole releases should be exclusive. Here, if you want Astrobot 2, buy PS6.
Yeah, maybe in like 2 years' time. I
still think it's still too far or too close.
I think maybe by like 2030 you start dropping. I feel like you're gonna have, as time goes on, you're gonna have less and less adoption of those. You're gonna have the people that buy it at launch and it's gonna sell out and all that stuff. The enthusiasts, just like what happened with Switch 2. Well, look what happened with Switch 2 now. You walk into a store, it's there.
Yep.
It's not like, oh my God, I can't buy Switch 2. And people start to get to the like thing of like, well, I don't really need it. Right? Like this, even the two big games that Nintendo has coming out this year that are left, they're both on Switch 1. So it's
They
like,
don't.
I
They
don't
don't need
need
to.
that. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, Nintendo's had the same problem of realistically, there's only one game for the Switch 2 or two games for the Switch 2 that people would like have a
Yeah.
reason to
Donkey
like care about,
Kong. Yeah.
and Mario Kart, and
Mario
that's
Kart.
it. Like even the current like Switch 2 games, like Pokemon is I think a dual
Yeah. It's Switch
system,
one. Yeah.
and so is Metroid.
Yeah.
So the only reason I bought a Switch 2 now, or when it came out, is because I know it's going to go up in price later on.
Same.
But it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I got to get a Switch 2 because there's so many great games for it.
I personally, I didn't really care about Mario Kart, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of like at that point with Mario Kart where it's like, okay,
Right.
it's Mario
Yeah.
Kart,
Yep.
I feel like there was a lot of excitement with Donkey Kong, and then now it's back to the whole like, okay, well, we'll play the best version of Pokemon on it. We'll play the best version of Metroid Prime 4. And
my Switch 2 is very ably gathering dust, like my Switch 1 did, right on top of my PS5.
Yeah, I have Hades 2 on Switch 2 as well, and it runs great.
Yeah.
I think the Switch 2 is a great console. I don't think anybody's hating on the Switch 2 itself, as in like other than people that are complaining about the screen. But I think it's more of like there might be a lot of people that go, all right, there's still not enough for me to move right now, right?
Right.
So hopefully 2026 is that where they start moving. There's still a lot coming for Switch 1, right? Because they promised, I think, like 2 years of Switch 1. But I think their goal is by 2027. All right, that's it. Everybody start moving to Switch 2.
Yeah.
But it's like I think Nintendo themselves have kind of slowed the adoption of Switch 2. Like,
well, there's all the stories that like
right?
developers can't even get Switch 2 dev consoles, or that they wanted to switch.
Right, but I think personally, I feel like Nintendo, that's Nintendo themselves are doing that.
Right.
So that Switch 1 isn't abandoned completely.
But that's like the same bullshit that they said.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget. I think it was the Wii, maybe, when the Nintendo was like, oh, they got three pillars. Or no, it was the DS. It's like, oh, the three pillars, the Wii, the DS, and the Game Boy.
The GBA, yeah. And the
like,
GBA got, I mean, to be fair, the DS was so awesome. It's like, why would you want to go back to the GBA?
Yeah,
at that
what the
point?
fuck talking about like three pillars bullshit. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that was their idea of just like, and then to be fair, they did support the GBA for a while, and you could play GBA games on the DS and all that stuff, and that was great. But yeah, I mean, the DS was just by far such an awesome like innovation that it's like, why would I want to go back to playing the GBA? But yeah, I just, especially with now, okay, I want to preface this by saying that we don't really know. Polls are always subjective in that you don't know where these polls, who they talk to when they put out these polls, right? Like when Matt Pescatella puts out a thing, whether it's it's different when he does the tracker that shows like what games were played or whatever for that week, or he has a way to track that and is given that information by whatever sources he has, Sony and however else he has a way to track that, right? When you're talking about this thing, that this is not the first time he's had this come out. IGN, I think, also had a story for this that was very similar, but it was more about like 18 to 24-year-olds, about what they're playing and that they're not buying games, right? So now there's this whole thing about, well, there's a certain amount of people that are buying games or buying the majority of games. Approximately a third of video game players purchase a new video game less often than once per year, while about 36% purchase a new game once a quarter or with higher frequency. 22% about every 3 months, 18% once every 6 months, 12% about once a year, 33% less often than once a year, and 4% more often than once a month. So we would fall into the 4% according to this data. Now, again, these are the same people that also put out, like a few years ago, 50% of, and I think I just saw something like today that somebody else had a stat of like 48% of gamers are now women or whatever. Which, okay, if you count certain like mobile games and other things and the rise of cozy games and stuff like that, yeah, maybe you're getting closer to that percentage. But I don't know how they're calculating that, right? Same thing, we don't really know how they're calculating this. But if you really look at the broad overall other stuff that's going on in gaming, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to be able to believe. And especially when you look back at previous decades or whatever, there's always been this sector of gaming that's like what we call the normies, right? They're buying the Call of Duties, the FIFAs, the NBA 2Ks, the Maddens, and that's the only game they're buying. And they play that the whole year on and off, right? With their buddies or by themselves or whatever. And you might have like the big tentpole game that you buy, you know, like the big Sony game or Spider-Man, obviously, because that just goes out to so many people. You might get the big Nintendo release, like everybody buying Mario or everybody buying Pokemon or something like that. But it's like, it's very few and far between when you go back and look at it, right? It's not this. So his data is not super suspect either, because it kind of follows the trend that we've been seeing. It would make sense why publishers are trying to push for $80 games, because if you're not seeing that many people buying games, what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to get more money out of them. Same thing with the Game Pass increase, right? Let's get more money. We're going to lose subscribers, but we're going to get more money out of people that stay there. So
yeah, until you push them too far, and then they all just go
right. It's the same thing. Why it's why $80 got pushed back, right? It's why. I mean, obviously, also Outer Worlds 2 was the worst game to do that with. The Outer Worlds 2 really should be like $60.
Yeah, the game about anti-capitalism, they're gonna try to bleed you out on that. It's like, yeah, good luck with that.
What I'm saying is, like, dude, it would have made more sense if you're gonna try to do it with Ninja Gaiden 4,
right?
Even, right? Like, or I mean, I can't think. They don't have another big game.
Well, Elder Scrolls.
Year, but
well, even this year.
Well, okay, but like they could try that with like I said, Forza Horizon 6. You know, that's your big tentpole game that you know sells. All right, you can do that with $80. Even the only reason you won't do it with Call of Duty is because you want more people to buy that game, right? So you're gonna price people out to the point where like your friend that you get to buy it is not gonna. They're gonna be like, oh man, I'm not buying that. You know, so I just feel like at some point that it does make sense why we're seeing this, right? And we're also seeing how many free-to-play games come out, how many free-to-play games exist,
right?
And how many people are playing those free-to-play games. And it's like there's only so much time that we have available to us. And when you're
if you're playing 2 to 3 free-to-play games, and all of them require like an hour a piece, daily logins and daily quests and bullshit.
Yeah,
that doesn't become gaming; that becomes homework.
Well, yeah, but then that's the game you're playing, right? So, and then you look at it and go, well, I spent a lot of time in this game. I could pay $10 for whatever, some more coins, or some you know, the V-Bucks, or the VC for NBA 2K, or the EA Sports FC equivalent, or whatever, right? That stuff. You do see it go towards that. Like, you know, my daughter's generation, the first thing that she touched was a tablet. It wasn't, or a laptop. It wasn't a console, right?
So that's where you went wrong.
Even if I didn't go wrong, it's like that's what she's using when I'm working and I can't be around her, right? So it's like, it's just one of those things of like, it is that whole feeling of you kind of have nostalgia for that first thing that becomes yours, right?
Right.
So you're experiencing games on a tablet, on a phone. That's what
I,
gaming is to you.
I
So
would say the actual problem. I mean, I'm kidding
yeah,
when you say you did it wrong, but the problem with what you're talking about is like your daughter having nostalgia for like the not well the iPad or whatever.
yeah,
It's like games like that, and that device is a lot more disposable than like you on a Super Nintendo.
oh,
Like
definitely,
it,
yeah,
like okay, like let's say your daughter's first game was like Temple Run or Flappy Bird. Like you
yeah.
can't even get. I mean, you can't even
Well,
get like
I
the
mean,
original
but
Flappy.
honestly, her first introduction to gaming is Roblox, and that's the thing that she plays.
Yeah,
And Roblox, people talk about Game Pass. Roblox is a Game Pass by itself. You literally can drop in and
right.
drop out of games constantly because there's always something.
Yeah,
And what was it that they had a game this year that like had more? There was one game that came out for Roblox. I can't think of it. It's like some kind of like some like Stardew Valley sort of type game that they had come out for Roblox that had more people playing it than like all the big games or whatever combined. And it's
right.
like, yo, unfortunately, that kind of tells you where things are, right? Like, um, Sony's revenue out of the PlayStation 5 is 10 games, and like 2 of those are paid.
Right.
So that it's that this whole, it kind of all feeds into itself of like, it's going to be really interesting to see what these consoles, what that life of those consoles are going to be like, because you're not going to need to get off the PS5 to play these
Right.
games or games like Silk Song and Hades 2 and all that stuff, right? Like you don't need, eventually Hades 2 will come to PlayStation 5 and Xbox and whatever, just like Hades 1 did. And like you can sit there and play that. You don't need the best version of the PlayStation to play that. And if the PlayStation 6 is eventually going to be the best version of the PS5 Pro, it's gonna be interesting to see how many people actually go and flock to that,
Yeah.
and for Xbox, how many people actually buy that thing and does whatever it is what they're trying to do, which is become the all-in-one PC machine. Does that work for them? I don't really know. I'm in that conundrum where it's like a lot of my libraries on Xbox, so it's like, if that's the only way I'm going to be able to play, aside from, I do appreciate what they've done, which is something that Sony hasn't. Sony does it with PS Plus, but there's a limit to it, right? Like you can't. I don't know if you can stream PS5 only games on your PS4. I've never
No.
really gone back to my PS4 to.
That's the thing
Uh,
is like you talk about a huge library, but your
yeah.
Xbox library, but except for like Rock Band, what do you care about?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you don't want to lose access to that, right? Where it's like, I
But
have to pull out my Series X to be able
but
to,
you're not doing that. You're not doing that specifically, but most people aren't doing that at all anyway. Like,
right.
some people are going like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I need to go bust out Halo 4," or I need to go play Gears of War 5. It's
To
like,
be
no,
fair, you can play this on the current console, but you know, it is going to be one of those things where it's like, yeah, how much of that is gonna
like you're
be
not really
made?
like a nostalgia gamer to begin with, except for like Rock Band, and even then, like how often do you play Rock Band?
I can't play Rock Band right now.
Yeah, so it's
You
it's
know,
it's it's
I
moot
finally
anyway.
uninstalled it. I have finally uninstalled it on
Right.
Monday when we got done doing when they delisted it. We talked about delisting it,
Yeah.
I deleted it off my storage because I said, look, I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy one of those controllers that you can actually use.
Right.
And You know,
I mean,
that's
Yen,
100. That's 2 games that I could buy instead of buying that. You know, so
Yen's bought that guitar, but I don't think he's played it yet, or
yeah,
who knows?
and it's fine. It looks great. It's just
Right.
you know still. But anyway, moving on from this, I just think it. Look, this is gonna be a thing. I'm sure for the entirety of next year, the entirety of 2027. We'll get plenty of more to get to talk about this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, are you gonna buy a PlayStation 6 when it first comes out? Are you, buying whatever this Xbox thing is?
I mean, I'd buy a PS6 more than
Yeah,
an Xbox. That's for damn sure. It would depend on the price, how easy I
yeah.
can get it, or how easy it's available, and then if there's at least one game that I'm interested in.
If Xbox really does make that all seamless, right? The way that they seem to make it with the Ally,
Right.
with the console, and I don't have to sit there and install drivers and do
Right.
all the things that you do with a PC. Then I do see a world where that could maybe work, right? But it's a lot of hypothetical, and they're gonna have to continue smashing it with the games, which they have been this year, to their credit. Let's see if they can continue that next year, and it seems like they are. But again, a lot of things can happen, so you don't want to say a lot, for sure it's happening, and then it doesn't. But yeah. That being said, they did release the what's on Game Pass for this month of October, the last month that you have the $20 price point for Ultimate. The casting of Frank Stone is out tomorrow on Ultimate and Premium. Ballex Pit, which is a Devolver digital day one game, indie game that looks like it's going to have the juice. It looks fun. Every time I see it, it looks amazingly fun. I'm definitely going to be trying it out. It comes out on the 15th. That comes to Ultimate and PC Game Pass day one. Eternal Strands, He Is Coming, and then Ninja Gaiden 2 Black are all going to be on premium now. PAX Day, which I have a friend that was playing this in early access. They quite enjoyed it. It's like a MMO-ish type game. That's on PC Game Pass and Premium. Keeper comes out on the 17th. That's the Double Fine game with the Lighthouse.
Right.
And Ninja Gaiden 4, obviously, on the 21st. Outer Worlds 2 will come out the 29th. So we'll see how many people latch on to Outer Worlds 2, which had a new trailer again, I think today or day before. It's Ben Schwartz, right? That's his name? The guy that's in all those ads. I can't think of his name right now.
I think so.
Yeah. He keeps being in the ads.
The Sonic guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sonic guy, yeah. Also, they had the rumor that was Squad again. At least, you know what? I'll give Xbox credit, or Microsoft. They are actually coming out and just killing the rumors. They're not letting that stuff sit there. Good on them. Because in the past, they would have just let that stuff fester and let people keep talking about it, and you talk yourself into a circle. There was some Reddit posters that kept posting that, according to them, talking to employees in the store, which, look, I worked in Kmart, and I worked in a Kroger in receiving. I can tell you there was a lot of times I thought that something was going out, and it ended up being a snafu, ended up being they're restocking and changing it. Like, it's not always, not everybody knows everything. Even managers sometimes don't know, but nobody's saying that it is, right? Like, Dustin Legary said he called Walmart and Target, and both of them said that they're not doing away with their Xbox stuff. They're just restocking or moving it.
I mean,
yeah.
both sides of the point are stupid.
Yeah.
Because you calling the random person who picks up at the Target, going like, "Is Xbox going away?" What are they going to say? Yeah, it is. We don't have any more shit in the back. Like, they don't know. And even if they did know, they wouldn't say.
Yeah, I mean, they might, but it's just like, it's the same thing as people that call for those, you know, when I used to be big into the Funko Pops, and you do that thing where you check the stock of what the
Right.
individual store has or whatever. And it's like, half the time they tell you they don't have anything, and then you get to the store and they go, "Oh, whoop, it's there." It's like,
I like the
yeah,
other one where, like, Walmart's app, but we got it in stock, and then you go there and it's not there.
right, yeah.
And then you go, and then you ask them, like, "Hey, where is this?" And they go, "We don't know."
Look, if it is to be, you know, I think the honest truth is they're done with making a bunch of versions of the Xbox Series X and S. I think they are essentially liquidating stock, and they are kind of turning the page because
Right.
they know nobody's buying these things. So, yeah, the fire sale that you saw at Sam's Club or whatever, I'm pretty sure Microsoft at that point doesn't care as long as they get sold. They're not really kind of like banking on the Series X and S selling at this point. They know they don't sell.
Well, as far as, and
So,
also
yeah.
as far as the game stuff, weren't we talking about like a year ago that Microsoft like fired the physical games person or like the
Yeah, they
department?
did.
So
I mean, yeah, they themselves are not really doing that much physical anymore.
right,
And also, like, we keep seeing retailers in the UK and in other places, even Walmart, even Best Buy has shrunk their sections of retail space for games the same way they have done for movies
well,
and
all
music,
right.
and you know, so
I
like,
actually,
yeah.
I actually was at a Best Buy, like I think it's just a few days ago, and man, that was depressing as hell.
Yeah,
Like
it
they had
is.
like,
It's depressing to go to a store.
and
Like,
like
dude,
the
yeah,
weird
go
thing
ahead.
about the Best Buy I was at, I mean, it's an old Best Buy, like it's been there for a while. Like it was extremely like spacious inside,
Yeah.
but that's because like they don't have a ton of stock, and it's like, why do you have these big hallways or like these big
Well, I
thoroughfares?
mean, it's not like they can make the store smaller.
No, but
Yeah.
like I don't mean that. I meant like they didn't have a lot of shit to begin with.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, no wonder you're spacing all this crap out because you're trying to make this. It's like what Sears used to do. It's like, oh, we had this big building, and you can't cluster all this stuff together because we don't have, it'll be like
Yeah.
2 rows of stuff, and then the rest will still be empty. So if we space everything out by 20 feet, it seems like, oh, the store is populated with crap. And it's like, not really. I mean, so yeah, like they had like like 3 aisles for games, so that was it, and not even like they didn't even have like the toy slash nerd aisle they usually have. So I
Yeah.
guess that shit's gone, thankfully.
I mean, and also, it's like, that's just something that we keep, it's just, we keep seeing it.
Right,
So, you know, yes. Is the Xbox section smaller than the other two sections? Yeah. Because they keep producing less and less physical games. So, of course, yeah. There's not
right,
much to sell for Xbox, but that's what they want. They want you. The moment the Game Pass was introduced and it started gaining traction, they stopped doing physical as much because they wanted you to either be on Game Pass or they wanted you to buy digitally in the store. Sony did the same thing in another way. They stopped allowing other people to sell the digital versions of the games, right?
right.
So, you know, hey, but then you have stuff like Square Enix announcing that they're doing like physical versions of 7, 8, and 9 in the twin pack for Rebirth and a remake, which is cool. Like, so I'm glad that those things exist, right? So that's great. I like seeing that stuff. But just really quick, on seeing the on speaking of games that are selling, just because I should have lumped this in with the other stuff, but they Circana did release the August 2025 stuff. And the Switch 2 is obviously selling amazing.
Right.
It sold like 2.4 million units in its first 3 months now, 5% ahead of the PS4, and it's selling ahead of the Switch 1. It led to the 32% increase in hardware spending. no duh, because PS5 is selling, but they're not selling what they would
Yeah,
if it
I
was
mean, it's
new.
all like we just said.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year-old console. Like,
Yeah, the Switch 2 is new. People are buying it. That makes sense. NBA 2K26, Madden number 1 and 2. Hey, great for the Mafia of the Old Country to be number 3 up there. That's awesome. That was a really good game. I enjoyed it. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remaster. That's up
yep.
there at number 4. EA Sports College Football 26. That's a month after release now, but still holding strong. Gears of War Reloaded up there, even though it felt like nobody talked about it when it came out. Donkey
Right.
Kong Bonanza up there at number 7. Then you get the EA Sports stuff with college and NFL 8 and 9. Demon Slayer doing well, and then you get the kind of the usuals: Minecraft's, Call of Duty's, Grand Theft Auto 5 still up there, all that. So also Nintendo added Mario and Wario, which that's like the first like Japan only
I got that game. Yeah.
Mario game that's on goes overseas on Switch Online. That's cool.
I mean, the nice thing about that game is not on a ton of text. Like
yeah. Bubsy gets a game on Switch Online. It's not enough that it's got Bubsy 4 coming. You got Bubsy and Claws, Encounters of the Third Kind. The first Bubsy game. This is on Super Nintendo Online, by the way. Yeah.
If I had that service, I'd be canceling it because of Bubsy.
You also got a special version of like Fatal Fury 2.
And the funny thing is, I think like limited run is putting on like a Bubsy collection anyway. So
yes, they are. Yeah. Hey, they keep doing it with Bubsy. Also, not much that we know about it, but it's once again another like Microsoft letting go of somebody that's been around a long time. The Halo art director left after being there for 17 years working on Halo. He started with the working on the Halo series with Bungie still with
I think it was Halo
ODST.
3.
Halo 3 ODST. And then he's been working on it since then with 343. And I guess he has like a no compete or something, so he can't talk about it until sometime in 2026. But he had this interesting quote where he's like, there's a little more that I can say for the moment, though I intend to share this particular story in its entirety when it's absolutely safe to do so next year. In the meantime, a message for everyone who needs to hear it. I know the state of our industry seems dire, but never forget that you are free to choose. No illusion of security, nor promise or wealth or fame or power is worth trading away your health, dignity, ethics, and values, and no one can force you to stay strong. Take evidence when necessary and find where you belong. Okay. This was on his link. Yeah.
You want to take odds on if he's talking about AI or not?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
We know how much Microsoft and Satya Nadella in particular is high on AI. So,
right.
Yeah.
I actually looked into him, and it's like, yeah, of course he's all in AI because like he ran the like cloud division at Microsoft before he was the CEO. So it's like, I wonder you're obsessed with this bullshit that no one else cares about.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, it's also because I understand it in a way. They want to be the leader. If AI gets big, they want to be the leader. I get that. But the problem is you have the chance of it blowing up in your face.
Yeah, you just said the literal magic word is if AI gets big. That if is pulling a mighty big one right there. Like,
yeah. Speaking of, what would have happened? What would have happened if Ubisoft would have actually released this Assassin's Creed Civil War game, Mark?
It would have been pretty toothless.
According to GameFile, who spoke to some former employees, lots of former employees from somewhere, or current employees from somewhere talking in the last couple of weeks. So this Assassin's Creed game would have had you play as a black man who was formerly enslaved in the South and moved west to start a new life. And you would be in the fight for justice in a conflict that would, among other things, see you confront and emerge against the Ku Klux Klan. According to interviews of 5 current and former Ubisoft employees, this was canceled last summer by Ubisoft management in Paris due to the online backlash around the reveal of Yasuke. Of course, this is the Black Samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Right.
And the political climate in the United States, which, we've kind of hinted at sometimes here, but, it doesn't take much of anybody to know what's going on. I feel like I get it for the Yasuke thing because they got a lot of abuse for that. And maybe they don't want to put their devs through that again. But to me, I feel like this would have been the perfect time to release that. You know what as Eric Bischoff likes to say, you know what creates cash? Controversy. You know what gets people talking? Controversy.
That's the problem is just with who's in the presidency right now and who's running the government, they spell controversy with a K.
I know, but I'm just saying, who cares if the grifters are talking their BS? They're always going to talk their BS. If you felt strongly about doing this, and you weren't going to take it too far on the deep end, is it yes, let's just tell the story of this enslaved black man fighting the Ku Klux Klan and whatever. You don't have to make it more than it is. The thing I would be worried about is Ubisoft is just not great at this necessarily.
That was my response when you messaged me about it on Facebook.
I would have been really excited for this. It sucks that it didn't happen, but I agree with you after talking to you. Is that
mean, look what they did with Far Cry 5. They completely wimped out on that game. It was supposed to be a very going against the cult and white supremacy, and they completely pardon the phrase whitewashed that game and made it very antiseptic and stupid. So that would have been my fear, is they would have done either one of two things. They would have either had it the Confederacy or the KKK guys be so overtly evil as to make them caricatures, or they would have done basically both sides. You would have been fighting against the KKK primarily, but then the Templar would have infiltrated the Union, and you'd be fighting them as well.
Yeah.
Although the only funny thing would be if this game had gone through, is if they'd gotten Tom Hanks to reprise his role as Nathan Bedford Forrest from Forrest Gump.
Probably not. They don't want to pay Tom Hanks.
They couldn't afford him, but or it'd be you have to protect, or they would have shoehorned in some mission where you either have to save or shoot Lincoln.
Yeah, I wonder if there's if we'll ever get leaked assets of this, we're seeing Everwild now is coming out with photos and stuff like that.
Well, I don't think this ever got into production.
Yeah,
I mean, so
it's in the planning stage essentially.
Right, it's probably just some story, some design docs or something.
Right. We go from Ubisoft to former Ubisoft devs. The Clair Obscur Expedition 33 team says they don't want to commit to what their next game is. They want to be constrained by story, art style, or gameplay, and whatever we want to make next. We just want it to feel authentic. They are doing a special update to Clair Obscur after they've sold 5 million copies. Congrats to them. That's pretty awesome.
No, I was gonna say I did see some of the interviews. I mean, they just had New York City Comic Con this weekend,
right?
And Charlie Cox was interviewed, and someone asked him it's "Have you played the game yet?" And he's like, "No."
No, yeah.
He's like, "Well," he was kind of joking. He was like, "No, it's a 50-hour game, and that's long." And then and then someone said "Oh, they were kind of teasing or would you be interested if they made a Clair Obscur movie? And I think he said like, and I think the interview was like, oh, Glenn Powell said he really liked the game, and Charlie Cox was like, oh, well, he just stole my role then.
Yeah, I mean they are making that movie, so we'll see if they cast some, if they try to cast Charlie Cox or some other folks in here.
I can guarantee you the 4 people that are going to be in it: Tom Holland, Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, and whatever Glenn Powell.
I don't know if that Game Kitchen is going to want to pay whatever it's going to cost to get Tom Holland and Zendaya on there. But hey, you gave me a great segue to movies that we know are getting made at some point. Apparently, Mortal Kombat 2 is Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema are so excited for Mortal Kombat 2. They've already greenlit a Mortal Kombat 3, Mark.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2 hasn't even come out yet.
I mean, sure, but they have tracking data. They probably have audience stuff. And, why
now
not?
They have a whole year. Now they have a whole 6 months to hype it up.
Yeah.
Too, with a delay.
So, I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I know it's not the same studio, but look what just happened with Fast and Furious 11. I think that got quietly kind of canceled.
Yeah, it's like nobody's even signed on to do anything. They don't have a script. They don't have anything.
So yeah, might as well, if Mortal Kombat 2 is good, presumably, might as well strike where the iron's hot and start banking some of these things in advance.
Right. Same thing with Minecraft 2. That's coming.
Yeah. And at least the thing with Mortal Kombat 2 is aside from Carl Urban, there's not a ton of big names in the thing.
Yeah.
So most of those actors are fairly cheap. So yeah, I might as well sign up for long ass contracts and say, here you go.
Yeah. Why not try to get the most you can out of it? We know Warner Bros. Loves their franchises.
Here's Mortal Kombat 4 with Quan Chi.
Yeah. So that's not surprising either. I mean, they did just they did say no to the first offer from Paramount this week to buy them. So we'll see if that eventually happens or not.
I didn't click on the clickbaity article, but I saw some headlines from some stupid site that was like, "Oh, the Halo 3 TV show, when is season 3 coming out?" It's like,
oh yeah,
never, you fucking idiots.
I hate those articles, man. It sounds like did Game Rant write that? Or Screen Rant? Because that's got to be them. That's how they do that.
I think it was Screen Rant.
Yeah, they love writing headlines like that.
I mean, I didn't read it, but the basic premise is basically the Halo show is actually popular on Netflix.
Yes, it is.
So now there's some renewed interest in it coming back, but it's well, good luck, because it's at least 2 years canceled. So
oh God, please just I don't know, make it better.
Yeah, make it like Daredevil Born Again, where it's it's just a concise what you want out of a Halo show.
Yeah, the Minecraft movie did so well that there's going to be a Minecraft movie too. No surprise there. The original director Jared Hess will come back. It's slated for June 27th. We'll see if Jack Black and Jason Momoa come back, but
yeah, they'll come back because I'm sure they have a contract saying they'll come back, regardless. But
I'm sure they're going to say we want money. The money they're going to make from that.
Movie contracts, especially for something like that, they're so protracted that I'm sure both of those guys have signed up for at least 3 movies, and it'll be yep, you get a 5% increase, but on each movie or whatever, and there you go.
Yeah, for sure.
The Halo thing was from a site called Buddy TV.
Okay, I don't know what that site is, but
yeah, it's Halo season 3 release date, where it actually stands, and it's it stands nowhere. It stands in the ground.
It's gone. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Valve's working on Steam VR 2.
Yeah.
Sadness that Heart Machine is having to lay off devs and development is ending on Hyperlight Breaker. As soon as I saw that thing go out, I kind of felt like this isn't. I'm surprised it lasted that long.
Right.
Like the way that they made Hyperlight Breaker so different from Hyperlight Drifter. Like I immediately was just like, I'm not into this.
Right. I
And
mean, I don't think anyone was, or
it's like they tried to make an ongoing game, whatever, out of it, and it's like that's not
Right.
what Hyperlight Drifter was. You know, it's like,
yeah,
I get it that that's kind of like a lot of devs feel like they have to do something like that, but
right.
it sucks. Like, unfortunately, there's just so many of these that can exist, and yeah, it's sadly another casualty.
Right.
And to end things here, as if things couldn't get any worse for MindsEye's Build a Rocket Boy devs, nearly 100 past and present employees at MindsEye developer Build a Rocket Boy have signed an open letter against the studio for its long-standing disrespect and mistreatment of staff. Yeah, if you don't know about this game, or this game came out,
Jens' game of the year.
it absolutely bombed. It's currently the worst game of 2025 critically.
Right.
There's actually a union with like 250, 300 people that work for them. Of course, they're also like IO Interactive was publishing this, which is like a black eye on them with them trying to release James Bond and whatever right now.
Right.
That essentially they were kind of telling them, yo, you may not want to release this the way it is. They kind of essentially
screw you.
hand waved it, told them to screw you. And that apparently they are not even they were giving them mandatory 8 hours of overtime per week for every employee in the 4 months leading up to the game's launch. Time off in lieu was given to the staff at 7 hours per every 8 worked. But they say that many employees have yet to be able to use any of that time off because of continued requests for extra high priority work even after launch, and trying to, I don't know, somehow fix the game. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to do a Cyberpunk 2077 with this game. It's just not happening.
Yeah, Cyberpunk like had a very iffy launch, but like the bones or the structure were still
exactly
salvageable. Yeah. Like
this game is just this isn't it.
Right.
And they're really just demanding a public apology, which we've seen Lindsay Benzies go and cry on social media about people were doing the game wrong. They were out there mysteriously hating on the game and all this other.
He claimed also that like, it was insider.
Yeah, there's people that used to work with him were like trying to kill him on the inside or whatever, and it's like, really? Just admit,
Right. I don't want an apology. I want him to commit seppuku like publicly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of these people got laid off for their stupid choices, right?
Right.
And these are the kind of things that, like, okay, we talk about sometimes you have to have layoffs because, look, you overhired or whatever during the pandemic, or hey, I mean, we just got too many studios, we can't afford it, or we don't need this many, or whatnot, or just people being greedy and they need that thing to show growth for the stock market or whatever the reasoning. These are the ones that are like, this sucks, like just absolutely bullshit, shouldn't have happened. Leslie Benzies knows better, like should have listened to his staff, but it's like, oh my god, I got to get the game out, we can't afford to keep keeping it in dev and all that. That's unfortunately, this is game development for a lot of these places now. It's like you got to get the game out, and that's why a lot of these games came out the way they are, where they're broken or they're not. You got to get a bunch of patches to get them to work right or whatever, because it's like a rush to get the game out, because now it's like, well, we got to get it out because we don't have enough money to keep having it be in development.
Right.
So,
but like, I think with that game specifically, like if that was the case, the scale should have been way lower.
Yeah.
It's like, why make it an open world game, or why present the illusion of an open world game when you can't do something to do in it? It's like they should have done what Mafia did, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, you got the power of Take-Two behind you. Like, let's be honest there.
No, I mean though, like, because the Mafia isn't an open world game. It's
not. Yeah,
it has open world areas, kind of, but it's
it's like open zone, and it's very limited open zone because it literally just wants you to go from point to point.
Yeah. That's what that MindsEye game should have been. But instead it has like, oh, here's a big city, but you can't do shit in it because we didn't put anything in it. But it's like, okay, why have this at all then? You know, like,
because people get big eyes and think that that's what's going to sell, and it's like that doesn't necessarily sell anymore. Like, you got to have a reason to have the big.
Hey, what are you talking about? It worked out for Saints Row, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But all right, that's it for this week. Let's go ahead and end things the way that we usually always do with our upcoming games of what's coming out this week. A cool indie game, Spindle, is out right now. You can actually, they were giving away codes for it on Blue Sky earlier today. But it's a cool, like one of those like action roguelikes that we've been seeing a lot of. NASCAR 25. I didn't know they still made NASCAR games, but
I think it's like their last racing game, or like EA's last contract with the racing.
I don't think EA is making that. I think it's a like smaller dev that makes the NASCAR. Oh, yeah, it's iRacing. iRacing makes these. Yeah, they have the contract.
I was thinking of FIFA, or not FIFA, but the F1 game.
F1, maybe. Yeah. Bollocks Pit that I talked about is coming to Switch, Xbox, PC. It is on Game Pass if you want. You still subscribe to that. Escape from Duckov, which is Escape from Tarkov, but with ducks. And it looks cute. It's fun, you know. Pokemon Legends CA is the big release this week on Switch and Switch 2. I'm gonna wait for the reviews on this thing. Just it's what, $70 that I don't know if I have to spend or not. So like I bought Digimon. I'm enjoying that. I'm not necessarily rushing to go play this.
You got your Pokemon game for the year, or
Yeah. Lumo 2 is a cool little indie game. Look like a platformer that looks cool. That's out on PS5, Switch, or PC on the 17th, as well as Keeper. That's on PC and Xbox, and also Game Pass. The next Double Fine joint. Definitely go check that out for sure. Ela, A Frosty Glide is out on the 20th as well. The same day we're doing the next episode. Yeah. So there's some cool stuff coming this week. For sure, between Pokemon, Keeper, Escape from Duckov, Bollocks Pit. Gonna be neat what folks are playing for sure. That being said, next week we're gonna debut on some places live. We're gonna take our talents over to Restream. Try that out, see how that works. StreamYard's been awesome for all these years that we've been doing the video version of the show. But Restream allows us to kind of be on other things, so we'll get to be live on TikTok and other places. So we'll see, but everything else should stay the same, hopefully. But until next week, everybody, we'll see you later.
Later.
Bye.